It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar. Today we're at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street, where they have a 3-hour happy hour here every day from 3 to 6.
Wow.
And a fabulous brunch on the weekends. And they have half-priced food as well during the happy hour, by the way. Leslie Smith is here. Leslie Howard, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
I haven't seen you for ages. Since I saw you last, you added the name Blackshear to your name.
I didn't add it. It always existed in my name.
But it dropped out for a while or something.
Yeah, I just never put it in because it had too many letters. But
really?
Then when I started doing a lot of writing, Smith, it turns out, is a rather common name.
You didn't know that originally until you started writing.
I didn't quite realize
Not in
that.
Greece, actually.
It has to do with publishing.
Constantine Georges is here too. Hey, Constantine, good to see you.
Hey, good to be back.
Good to have you back on the show.
Yeah,
it's been
it.
a few years since you were here. You have to talk into that microphone.
I'm still standing.
We still have the same system. You look great. You look younger than last time I saw you, which was about 10 years ago.
You better check your eyes out.
What have you done? That could be the problem. Absolutely. And Lea Woolf is here as well. Hi, Lea.
Hi, how are y'all?
Good. Good to see you.
Nice to see you,
in case
too.
anybody wants to know what everybody does, Lea is the bar manager and event coordinator at Barcadia, which is probably the noisiest bar in New Orleans.
Oh, no.
Would you say that's a good description of it?
Yeah. It's pretty noisy. It's very interactive, I'd like to say.
It's sort of like the casino, kind of.
Where is that?
It's on Chapatoulas Street, 601 Chapatoulas.
Okay.
A block away from Poitras. It's an adult arcade, but it's got a lot of vintage, old-school games in there, along with some modern ones, so it's a lot of fun.
Adult doesn't mean like pornography.
No, it doesn't.
In this case.
No, it just means you can drink and
gambling,
It's an adult
and
arcade.
alcohol.
Yeah.
No gambling, like air hockey and Pac-Man.
Really?
And Galaga. We've got Tron.
Wow.
Yeah, so old school, where you can.
And what sort of people are going there? It's in the CBD. It's in the sort of somewhere. It's a sort of cross between the arts district and the
We're in the warehouse
district.
We have a very diverse crowd. Anywhere from 21 to 40, really, frequent there.
But is it people after work or people coming from?
We get a lot of lunch.
Going out for the night or tourists?
How long has that been there?
We're in our 5th year of business. We opened in January 2013.
That's amazing that I can miss that.
You didn't even hear about that.
You know, I come to town to pay taxes, and then I go away to go make music.
Well, that's good though. Where have you been lately?
I just got back from Nashville in South Florida, and I'm in town for maybe till the 12th or 13th, and then I'll be out and then back and then going to Europe.
What do you do to Europe? What are you doing in all these places?
Music and writing.
What sort of? Are you taking a band with you? Or are you?
I haven't been taking musicians with me that much. I've been picking up folks wherever I go, and just showing up with charts and songs, and I play piano, and I'm teaching myself guitar, and
That's a pretty cool way to do it. You just sort of show up with some charts.
Yeah, and I go, what do y'all know? And then I see what they know, and then I work with that.
And people pay you for that?
They pay me money, and they treat me nice.
How awesome is that?
And they pick me up from the airport in cars and things. And
who organizes all that for you?
I guess I do.
You put it all together yourself?
Yeah, it's just kind of random, like a lot of my life and career. And I go to Costa Rica regularly, and I went down there the first time back in 1987, and I made friends down there. And
what's the drug scene like in Costa Rica? Can you smoke weed there?
I don't think people care that much.
They're not worried about that, right?
Not really. I think there's actually starting to be some trouble from the folks coming up through Central America smuggling, but other than that, Costa Rica is a really peaceful, friendly place.
People are smuggling what?
Smuggling drugs from the cartels in Colombia and things, trying to get them into America.
Oh, so now it's going through Costa Rica as well. That's interesting.
Starting to, yeah. Just in the last few years, that's my friends down there are saying starting to be a concern a little bit.
And how do you know about that? Because people tell you.
Yeah, because I was down there, and my folks come up here. I've got Costa Rican family now that come up for Jazz Fest, and I go down there and sing at a wonderful club, El Sótano, in San Jose, and sing at the Jazz Cafe.
So you've got a
there.
whole sort of parallel life in Costa Rica.
Yes, I have many parallel lives. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
That's
Many.
awesome.
Well, we'll get on to some of the other ones because Constantine has a whole parallel life in Greece.
Well, I just got back from Greece
I wanna
and
go.
London.
Every time I talk to you, you just got back from Greece.
Well,
That's awesome.
And London.
you said it was a couple of years since we last spoke.
Well, actually, that was the couple of years since you've been on this show, but I just saw you a while ago. Remember, I saw you at, where
You
was
did,
that?
at the Commander's
The Commander's
Palace.
Palace, I saw you. Right,
Yes.
right.
Wait,
That's
where
true.
in Greece?
There are a lot of places. We have a farm. I have an olive farm in Peloponnese.
Wow.
Near the big town there is called Kalamata. So you've heard of the Kalamata olive, the black olive. That's the area that we come from, my father's side of the family.
That's
And
wonderful.
You're a Kalamata.
I'm a
Kalamartian.
Kalamatian.
You're
And
Kalamatian
and
olive
that's probably
farmer?
the first time it's ever been used, that term. But
Would you call yourself a Kalamartian?
If you were in Kinder, you'd say Calmation.
well, I come from a smaller village called Afara, so they called me an Afareon. But that's
Afareon.
getting a bit
Afareon.
obscure.
I like how you say that. They say that again.
Afareon.
Afareon. Can you say that?
Afarean.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh.
Leah,
So
no
my
accent. What do you
co-producer
do?
on this, I'm sorry.
It's podcasting.
Are you podcasting on your own?
Well, I was trying to get
Do you
people
have a
to.
parallel podcast? Do you listen?
Yeah, I was sharing so people would log in
Good
and
idea.
start listening
yeah,
to
go
us.
ahead. You can keep doing that.
Yeah.
Is it working?
Yeah, hopefully.
you
See,
Like-
that's the under 40 crowd. They know what they're doing. I mean, they're on top of things, you know.
Really?
Yeah, the social media, man. That's,
April will take care of it for you.
yeah, awesome.
We have people.
So my co-producer
We can
on
be
this thing
live.
is Bobby Economo,
Oh,
whose
yeah.
dad's name was Hercules Economo,
Good
obviously.
name.
Greek,
My middle
yeah.
name's Dionysius. so-
Dionysius, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And how do you
Constantine
spell that?
Dionysius, that's fantastic.
Dionysius?
Yes.
Dionysius.
Respect
Or
for vowels
iOS.
and consonants.
Yeah.
Okay.
But getting back to Greece, I mean, what I
Yes.
like about Greece, besides the olives and the olive oil, is I like swimming there.
Wow.
And
That
you
does
know,
sound
when Leslie was saying about Costa Rica, I got nervous because they have great whites and tiger sharks all along the coast
they?
there, and we don't have that in Greece where I go swimming.
What do you have? Hey,
Jinx.
echo.
Jinx.
No.
We just
Does
have
that mean you have to buy me
We
a
have-
Coke?
Having stereophonic,
it's basically a fish-free environment.
Oh, no.
That's why there are no sharks
Wait, I
there.
saw that on the Anthony
You know?
Bourdain show,
you
the fish-free
serious?
environment.
Well, I mean,
Is
they've
that
been
right?
fishing it for thousands of years. So for
It's
the most
fished out?
part, for the most part, around certain areas, there are not many fish. So that's a
that
good
where
thing if you like
Jesus-
swimming.
Isn't that where Jesus fed thousands of people from 12 loaves of
I'm
food
not
and-
sure about that.
well,
I
he's got to
wasn't
get
there
busy
then.
to make it happen again, right?
Well, that's true. That would be helpful if he came back. But isn't that where it was? So that's all the fish are gone now?
That's why they're gone, probably. The Greeks are good at catching fish, I have to say.
So, but are you
lot
really
of them
serious about that? Is it totally fished out?
Well, let me put it to you this way: you do not want to go and order when they ask you, when they say they've got a good fish for the day in the restaurant. You better think twice before you order it, because it'll cost you about 10 times what you'd pay here for a fish.
For fish of the day?
Because it's so rare
Can
to
they
have a
do
nice big
anything
fish.
about that? Can they like
Well, I
whoever
think
they is?
I mean,
Right.
there are some areas that have more fish, but mainly there aren't as many reefs.
Right.
For instance, so that ecosystem can't really.
recover.
It's just not there for. I mean, a few sunken ancient war vessels, maybe out of the Trojan War,
But
could
it's
have
so
gotten
beautiful,
a few.
Greece.
Yeah, it is beautiful, and it's beautiful to go swimming without worrying about getting your arm chopped
And you
off.
just eat chicken and
because
goat.
someone thinks you're a seal.
Well, there is that. I suppose. But you can go swimming here, and like in the Destin and so on. You're not going to
Really?
get your arm chopped off.
I think you will.
you really think
Yes, I do.
No, there's a lot. There's
I
a
know
lot
this is
more.
going to be controversial, but I'm just going to say it. I mean, I watch Shark Week every year.
Well, this is Shark Week
Yeah.
right now.
Correct.
actually,
Dun,
yeah.
dun, dun,
And,
dun.
Last week was
and I-
Shark Week.
Last week was Shark Week.
Last week, yeah.
Are you serious? We're a
Yeah,
week
Michael
behind?
Phelps lost to the shark in the race.
Yeah,
Michael
that was a
Phelps raced the shark?
fraudulent race.
A
In
fraud
what
race.
sense?
Yeah.
What, I missed that whole thing.
He raced a shark.
Where?
I thought that was a
In
joke.
a pool?
No, it was like a CGI shark.
Wow.
Right.
Oh,
So it
okay,
wasn't
thank you.
real.
I was trying
He
to
had to
understand.
run away from the shark.
Okay, so there was no Michael Phelps versus a shark then.
It was CGI. It was imaginary. It was
Okay.
And he still lost.
it was a generated shark.
Okay.
Wow.
So, but the upshot of this whole story is that you really believe, Constantine, if you go swimming in Destin, along with the million of other people that are there, you're going to have your arm chopped off by a shark.
Maybe my toe bitten off. Who
something.
knows?
But you
That's about as much as they're going to see of me. Maybe a toe.
So you're...
They're full of bull sharks there. I'm
So-
not making this up. This is not bull, right?
Yeah.
This is bull sharks we're talking about all along that coast. Very nasty.
What about those flags they have flying there that have yellow, green, red, and purple, or whatever
Well,
the colours
you know,
are? The purple is for marine pests.
It's actually true, though, that there are more sharks and they are getting more aggressive and closer in. And it's probably because of a lot of overfishing that we're doing elsewhere. So the sharks have to come where,
So they can't get
Come
anything to
in
eat in
closer.
Greece, so they're swimming to
yeah,
Destin.
and thinking like,
Thank
They're
goodness.
following you, huh?
Thank goodness.
tastes like chicken,
I
having
don't
people.
I don't
No,
believe
there are
that.
let me
so
say
funny.
this. There are sharks in Greece. There's sharks in the Mediterranean, great whites.
Good point.
Especially.
Right.
However, around the places that I go to, there really have never been ever any sharks spotted, caught,
Striped?
any color.
Okay.
It's
So it's
uh,
been like that since antiquity.
well, it's since I've been swimming there. That's not quite that far.
Not quite that far back, but sharks don't like this part of...
It's just that
Kalamata.
if they had seals, there'd be sharks there.
Right.
So they follow the seals, the big ones.
Is that
Yeah.
what sharks eat? Seals.
Yeah.
Leah, are you familiar with this? Do you go to Destin?
Yes, I do go to Destin, but I'm not afraid of sharks.
No. Nobody
Yeah.
in Destin is afraid of sharks. There's
No.
a million people up and down that coast.
Yeah.
Right
People
as
are
we
afraid
speak
of
to-
hangovers, but then they
That's
can get
why we
this thing,
have-
your sponsor,
Yeah.
the hangover.
Destroyer.
What a plug right there.
Yeah.
Well,
Very good segue,
I
right?
actually have to say, when I flew
what you
in
did there.
yesterday, I saw this in the airport, and I was getting like a bottled water, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. And
So it's for
and I
sale,
thought
isn't
that
it?
I would get some to bring with me when I go. I'm going to Europe next month.
Okay.
And I always bring like CDM coffee or community coffee, and I'll pick up some New Orleans, T-shirts from like Juan's or different restaurants to give to my friends that I'll be meeting. And this will be awesome. I can bring coffee. I can like a thing of coffee with Hangover Destroyer and a bow on
Perfect.
it. So it's like for everybody's morning after. And
That's a good gift. It
yeah.
says here in my extensive research, actually, Leslie, about you, it says that you were named a Louis Armstrong Airport Cultural Ambassador.
I was
In
indeed. I'm
2002.
on the airport wall.
wow.
You're on that mural there?
I'm immortalized in the sea concourse, man.
So when you
My
walk
arms
off
out, welcoming.
So when you walk off the plane,
Not in that big outdoor part. And if you're in the sea concourse, I'm on
Where it
I'm on
goes-
the wall there. Periodically I run into myself in the airport,
That's
and then I
pretty cool.
remember again, and I go,
Who-
wow, I forgot about that.
who painted that?
It was Richard. Oh my God. Oh man.
Somebody.
When I had
Grayson will
I'll
tell.
remember his name, and he's wonderful. And we had a booth. My father's Michael P. Smith is my dad, was a photographer, and I ran a booth for him for years. Every Jazz Fest. Richard Thomas. Richard Thomas was an artist who shared our little tent space, and a really wonderful artist, and did a bunch of mentoring programs with inner city youth and with African American artists, and a lot of the mural stuff you see like under the Claiborne overpass. Those a lot of
yes,
city
yes.
programs. So Richard Thomas, really really awesome.
So Richard Thomas painted the thing of you. Now, what does being a cultural ambassador for the airport mean, other than having your face up?
Well, I guess it means that I should attempt to be representing my city in a good way and encouraging people to appreciate the great things about New Orleans.
Okay.
And,
Do you have to wear any special outfit? It
Oh
says-
no! And I do the debutante wave or anything.
Yeah, do you have to do
I don't
anything?
get to like launch ships or anything, Or
You don't have. So you don't have.
She breaks the
I don't get to
champagne
christen
bottle.
new airplanes.
So
although I'd
there's
be
no-
delighted to do that.
You don't have any official requirements for the role then of cultural
No,
ambassador.
I just have a framed plaque and a designation.
It's
and
pretty cool. Now,
know.
Constantine, you should be a cultural ambassador. as well.
Totally.
For all the things you've done for.
That sounds like work.
Constantine is the
Gosh.
founder of.
No,
Dat-
it totally
of Dat
isn't.
Dog. Are you guys familiar with Dat Dog? The Dat Dog Empire?
Dat
Oh,
Dog.
That's
That
Constantine's.
sounds evil.
The Dat Dog
Sounds
Empire.
empire.
No,
sounds
not
evil.
Darth Vader. Dat Dog.
The British Empire wasn't evil, was it?
Well, depends who you are.
Which
Unless
side you're
unless
on.
You're Indian, Jamaican, South African, Pakistani,
Wait.
Palestinian. What else?
They're
If you're a
bringing it-
marginalized
they're-
country,
They're
you know.
bringing it back
Canadian.
now. I was just in London, Brexit, so
Oh, yeah.
it's a really
What are they
unfortunate
gonna-
thing that happened
What are
there.
people saying about Brexit?
Oh, it depends who you speak to again, but and I have most of my friends are really
Horrified.
devastated by
Really?
the prospect,
Yeah.
But then I have a few in the countryside that absolutely love it.
So you spend a lot of time in
But they
England
don't
as well.
know. They don't understand.
Well, they have their own perspective, everyone's.
What is the what are the consequences going to be?
I don't know.
You can't travel.
I don't know because
So easily.
there are a lot of really good workers that live in England that are not from England
Right.
or in the UK, and it could be a problem for those people. Been there
Well,
a
they'll
long
just
time.
be illegal like we have here. We have
Oh, yeah.
a huge workforce of
You
12
can't even-
million people here who
well,
are
apparently
all illegal.
you
but
can't even
all
be
work.
legal in here even anymore. I don't know. They're,
can't
they're
even be
past-
legal.
I don't think
they're-
anybody
they're-
knows anymore
They're
about
trying to
here.
pass another law about
No.
legal aliens with
That's as
limitations.
That's as of today, I believe. Did
Yeah.
you hear the news today?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
What is it?
Well,
You know what's
More of
going
the
on?
same.
it is.
It's all-
I'm sure it was fake news, though. Don't you think?
Well, I missed the
Is
news.
this fake
I
news
heard,
here
I
tonight?
Heard that, no, this is real.
Dude, if you
Because
blink, you
I-
miss it. It's like
It changes
boom, boom,
every
boom,
minute.
boom,
It's
boom, boom.
fantastic now. I heard Trump was going to announce something about immigration today. That's
And it was
all I
really,
heard.
really big. It was
Big,
huge.
really big.
Huge.
Yeah, huge.
Huge.
But did he
Huge.
announce anything about it, Constantine?
Well, all I heard was Scoot in the afternoon said that Donald Trump called him up and said it was the
He's out.
greatest program of all time.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
thought he was going to kick Scoot out of the
No,
country.
no.
maybe.
Scoot claims he called him up and praised him.
That's fantastic.
Okay. Well, I guess he's got time to call Scoot. Did he say, I'll hang up and listen?
It's still debatable if that's real news or not, but
That would be
was
real
reported.
news if Donald Trump called Scoot in the morning or whatever he's called now.
And
He's
now
on in the afternoon.
Scoot in the afternoon now.
Does he call himself Scoot in the afternoon?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
It's Scoot
We
in
should
the
be
afternoon.
lounge in the afternoon,
Yeah.
scoot in the morning.
So you're keeping up
Yeah.
with Scoot and Trump
Scoot,
now. So, okay, so
sadly, I've never phoned in on the show, but he used to live
Ah.
2 doors down from me, and I always wanted to say, hey, Scoot, you're the one that taught me the facts of life growing up as a kid. And
Really?
That's probably why I'm messed up today.
how old is Scoot? Is he that old?
Ew, well, that would tell you how old I am, wouldn't it?
He's
He's a
timeless.
few years older
Scoot
than I am.
can't be like 90.
No. He's in his 60s. How about that?
Well, let me
Okay.
ask you though, how do they feel in Greece about our current
Yes.
administration?
That's a good question.
Well, I'll tell you. Again, it just goes down the line. But I think most Greeks, well, I can't speak for most Greeks. I mean, I really can't. I can
Right.
tell you from a lot of the people that I've met, they like a strong U.S.
Right, so
president.
they just perceive it as being, assertive and powerful.
I think they
or
do. I mean,
something like that.
I'm sure
Because they
they're
don't
making.
speak English.
Well, I'm sure they.
Sorry.
They actually do, but they're very cynical people, and they
Right.
deconstruct things a lot. So they can make a lot of satirical
Right,
comments
it's
about
a
it.
long game, and
But-
it's just whatever.
But I think right now Greece is suffering in a major
Yes.
way economically. So.
Right.
It's not about projecting their problems onto America. I mean, they're actually probably looking to places like America to help them out.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, the way that we haven't participated, the way that we said we were going to with relief and refugees.
Now,
and,
I will say
you know.
this: Greece is one of the few NATO countries that actually pays their bill in full, even though
Wow.
they're
100%.
broke.
well, that could be
That's-
where they fucked
And
up.
that's
They-
fantastic. We should say that again. Greek actually pays their bill in full.
I mean,
This is some
But
news we
why
don't
would you-
get here
why
in
would you
America.
pay-
That's
why
well,
would
we
you
don't
do
pay
that if you
taxes.
don't
They
have-
don't pay taxes. They just pay our NATO bill.
But then they pay,
That's
aren't you supposed to pay 2% of your GDP into NATO? And that's what Trump's been pissed off about, that other countries haven't done that.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
if you're not making any money and you're going under, 2% of your GDP is probably pretty minimal, I would think.
Well, it's
It's relative.
So
It's
that's what I'm
relative.
saying. There is no GDP if the whole country's screwed.
thank God we have lots of olive
And that's the
trees
saying
to
if
Yeah.
it's a
live
building,
on.
it can be paid.
Now, have you ever tried this
No fish, though.
George's
No
olive
fish, it's
oil
hard.
that you can buy here?
You can.
Yes, actually.
That is the greatest olive oil I've
Thank
ever
you.
tasted
Is
in
that
my
your
life.
olive
That's
oil?
my olive
Yes,
oil.
that's-
Yes.
I actually have that in my kitchen.
Whoa.
Did you pay $25 a can?
Yes, I
for it?
did.
Me
I can
too.
give you a discount.
Yeah,
Could you do that?
Well,
That
if
would
you
be
buy it
great.
from me, but
Okay.
I like my retailers to make a profit.
That would be-
Yeah, because this is the time of year I make pesto, so I use a whole lot of olive oil. I grow my own basil, and I've got piles of basil and pine nuts and.
Well, this year
walnuts.
coming,
Yum.
this harvest coming,
Could we
knock
come
on
over?
wood, which should be
Yeah.
a good one, because I was just there and the trees are full of olives.
Hey, tell us a little bit about it.
But
So-
between now and then, we hope we don't get a virus. That could
Right.
happen. The little fly that gets in the fruit and
You can't
destroys
do
it basically.
dormant oil
Wow.
kind of thing.
Well, I like to say that my olives come from God's hand to your mouth. There's no
That's
pesticides in between.
Okay, so
no,
you-
no,
so how do you- how do you
fertilizer,
keep
nothing.
How do you keep the flies away?
You gotta,
You gotta
With a
wipe
fly
them off.
swatter.
Get
You
a
got
lot of,
you got a lot of Greek
lot
8-year-olds
of
out there with
unemployed
fly swatters.
Greeks that have found a new job. I mean,
Working
fly
on that.
swatting. No, it's that's a challenge. I mean, there's no real good solution to that, to be honest. And
Well, we could make a lot of money if we came up with that. We
you
have
would,
another
because
45
it
minutes.
devastated. I mean, not Greece. I mean, Italy, Spain. They've had major crop devastations because of these things, and it's always a challenge.
Well, how old are your olive trees? In your
It
orchard?
depends.
No, yours. Well, how old are yours?
No, but I have
have
more than
old
one.
ones.
I have more than one. They weren't all grown on the
I
same
got
day.
a lot of them.
So
But
do
I
you
have
have
one.
any,
I
like,
have one.
hundreds of years
I have one
old?
that's probably over 500 years old. And it actually,
Wow.
I have a photograph of it, and it really looks like the face of an old person.
I want to see that.
It's like right out of the Wizard of Oz. When those
Right.
trees start throwing
Are those
apples.
olives better?
Wow.
They don't. That one doesn't have as many olives on it.
He has to work
After
harder.
500
tired.
years, you'd be sort of sick
Yeah,
of
he's gonna
growing
let
up.
the grandchildren.
I would
produce
take those
more.
olives and leave them separate, like just for the family
The
or something.
500-year-old olive.
Yeah, the tree that's
How
earned
many-
the right to
Right?
So how
be a
much
snob.
olive oil are you making a year?
Well, last year on just the land that I have, because my family has land as well. I bought some of my own land, and we might make a ton of oil, which is 2,000 liters.
Wow.
Excuse me, 1,000 liters.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah,
Considering it's $25 for that little.
It's really,
Can.
really good, though.
It's
You know.
Yeah, but
amazingly good.
most of it is
But how-
consumed in Greece.
So you're not
They're the
bringing most of it back?
largest consumer per person in the world.
Can you get as much for your olive oil like a can in
Greece?
Greece as you
No.
get here?
No way.
Yeah.
So
They
why
would
would
be
you-
shocked,
Why would you
But you
sell
can't.
it there?
But let me put it to you this way: we have a farm and we have a lot of lemon trees on it. And when I go there in the winter, because that's when we harvest the olives, you'll see lemons falling on the ground, and these are enormous lemons, not little small things. And I told my cousin, I said, if you go to, I won't mention which supermarket in New Orleans, but they're selling them for $1.40 a lemon.
That's Whole
A
Foods you're
lemon.
talking about.
I'm not saying which one.
I went to Whole Foods yesterday. I managed to get $52 worth of groceries in a little tiny basket on my bicycle.
Wow.
So
Yeah, man.
But
and
I
that
mean,
wasn't very difficult to do at all.
but they're dropping lemons on the floor there. So
Right.
you need to cut these olive trees down, start planting more lemon trees, because there's
What's the
obviously
Greek
enormous.
for when God gives you lemons, you make lemonade? Is there a Greek? Do they have the same saying?
Maybe.
Do you speak fluent
I
Greek
might
now?
speak it very, very barbarically.
But you can
I
make
can-
yourself
I can
understood.
communicate.
Barbarically?
Yeah, I
that
mean-
means that chicks dig it in bars or something?
Well,
I mean,
actually,
very barbarically.
I would say
Okay,
that.
that's good.
Well, the word a barbarian was from the Greek. Because
Primitive,
when the Greeks developed the alphabet that had vowels and sounds. So when prior to that, people would go bar, bar. They couldn't.
Are you
really
kidding?
do more
People
syllables.
just had consonants and grunting before they were vowels?
If you weren't a Greek, you were a barbarian. That's what they say. Anyone who wasn't Greek was a barbarian. We still think that. Sometimes.
Interesting.
Well, you've got the gods and everything,
Yeah.
so, I mean,
Right.
The Greek gods were Greek,
Yeah, well, yeah.
after all.
Yeah, there you go. And they live there.
It's
Period.
better to be a Greek god than a goddamn Greek. That's
Okay,
that's the one
that's
thing.
like a bottle in front of me and a
Yeah,
frontal
exact-
lobotomy.
yes.
That's another good one.
Right. That's not a
Okay.
Greek saying though.
No. How long do you spend in Greece every year?
Every year it depends. I mean, I actually do have a business here.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. So
Yeah.
you're running this. It is an empire, the Dat
Yeah,
Dog.
we have good people. We
Are
have,
you running the Dat Dog business yourself, or
No,
do you
certainly
have
not.
people?
Well,
No.
I did
not.
just swanning
Are you
around.
At
kidding
one
me?
point, but I will say this: at one point, I was one half of the whole operation when
Yeah,
we
right.
first
That would be the
started out.
beginning, yeah.
I was, in the back, slicing the bread, the buns, and doing the fries.
That was just
and
down here
my
on Fort
partner-
Street in that
yeah.
little tiny.
Yeah.
I only know the
Fine.
magazine street.
That's when I met you. Was when you first started it.
Yeah.
Now, how did you
remember-
guys meet, Leah?
I was a waitress. Him and his partner had come in, and I gave him a superb customer service.
We tried to steal her, but
Tried to
we
steal
couldn't
me.
afford her then.
Yeah.
And where were you eating?
I was at a
Waiting?
mom and pop restaurant called Lakeview Harbor out in Lakeview.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and,
how you started out as a waitress at Lakeview
I
Harbor.
didn't start off there, but yeah,
You worked your way
that's where
up to Lakeview Harbor.
Yeah, actually, the guy who recruited me to Barcadia was my customer at Lakeview Harbor.
Okay.
And so that's how that happened.
Lakeview Harbor's been very good to you.
Yes, it has.
You met Constantine.
Yeah.
Met the guy from Barcadia.
Yep.
And are you hoping when someone's going to walk into Barcadia and recruit you for something else?
I don't know if I'd say I'm hoping. I love my job.
You
That's
do?
good.
I
But
do
you're
love
not-
That
my
was the
job.
right answer, Grant. That was the right answer. As a former, I am a lawyer too by training, so I would caution you not to answer that question any
Keep
further.
your options open there.
You know.
But you're the event coordinator, event manager. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What are you actually called? What's your title?
The director of sales, and then I am a top tier manager over there.
Director of sales.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
Yeah,
What does that
guess.
mean? Selling Barcadia to customers or selling?
Well, we have people that come in, and we do all kind of private events from anything from, meeting presentations to rehearsal dinners. To I've even done bar mitzvahs over there, and then
Okay,
I.
that's weird. First of all, I always thought rehearsal dinner was weird until you said bar mitzvah.
Yeah, no.
How can you have a bar mitzvah in a bar?
Well, we allow all
13.
ages up until 9, and so.
Do
know.
you? Mm-hmm. Up until 9 p.m.
Yes, and I mean by law, technically they have to be out by 11, but we turn more adult by 9,
What?
so.
Hang
Take
on a
them out
sec.
by then.
That's a bar, right? Or is it a restaurant? Is
No,
that
it's
how you
we're a full functioning restaurant. We
Oh,
open up at
that's how
11
you get
o'clock
away with it.
every day.
Oh, okay.
Our food's delicious. We make everything from scratch. It's like
I have to
gourmet
go
pub
down
food.
there.
I
I'm
didn't
not
even
far
know there
from
was
there at
food.
all.
Yeah.
You live downtown?
Yeah, I'm on Race Street.
Oh, you need to
On
come
Race
check it
Street.
out.
Like a block from the.
Are you living in
Mardi Gras-
where your dad's old place?
My dad's old photo studio. Yeah.
Right on. That's a great
And it's
little
now
spot.
become a recording studio. So I'm
Is it
doing-
right?
The government didn't confiscate that because
Oh
I
my
remember
God. My taxes tripled.
what
Awesome.
Steve
Yeah,
Lesser
that's
went
right.
through. Remember?
Oh, that was
remember
that Dr. Lesser.
Dr. Lesser.
Yeah.
They've never even gotten close to his
No,
property.
they paid him like
you know.
$5 million to kick him out of
I
his
think
house.
it was well, no, they
What they-
offered him a certain amount. He didn't think it was
Yeah.
enough, and I agree with him. And he got Johnny Cochran to come represent him, and got about $10 million out of the city.
Yes,
for that,
was it
you know.
$10 million
It
he
was
got?
around the judgment
what
was
a
around $10
fantastic
million.
story.
Yeah.
And they still haven't built one thing on that spot.
Isn't that a crime?
That is
I have,
fantastic. Good on
I have
him.
the same problem myself. I had a tiny little piece of property near where the VA and all these hospitals are being built.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just took it from it, and I'm looking there, and it's just a green piece of grass. They haven't done anything with it. They just took it and.
They
So
destroyed that
how
whole
does that
neighborhood.
work? You really don't have any recourse on that? You just.
Well,
Yeah.
you do have recourse. I mean, they're supposed to compensate you. Of course, they never compensate you in terms of what you
Adequately,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
worth, and so then you'd have to contest that.
Right,
And
and
go
so
to
they-
court and
Right.
and that if
Then
if
that
they're
wears
gonna
you
give
out and they've got money and
Yeah,
it's
it's
market
like contesting a
Well,
parking
they're the
ticket
city and
sometimes.
you're-
Right,
just
yeah,
you.
it's a battle
Right.
you're not going to win.
Yeah.
So you need Johnny Cochran to give you the...
You do. You need the
So you
Johnny
just-
Cochrans of the world.
So you had to give up your little parcel
Little
of
bit of
land down
dirt
there.
here.
I could put a Dat Dog right there now. I was looking at that
Wow.
spot right there now. We feeding all those people.
Is that what you had
eating
it
the
that
for?
would've
food
been
and the
perfect.
You had it for a commercial?
No, that was
Purpose.
my father had bought that land back in the '60s. It was actually owned by a Greek, an immigrant
Right.
that must have come at the beginning of the century. And when he died, my father ended up with the property, and then we ended up with the property. So
Oh, now
it
the
was a
city's got it.
beautiful old house there, actually.
And
at
they
one
knocked
point.
it down to build this VA, which is still not built. Well, they have built some stuff down
It's
there,
a
haven't they?
huge. I accidentally
Yeah.
turned
It's
down
huge.
that way, and it seems like it just goes on forever. And it's all this new building. I don't know what it is. It's this like big hospital conglomerate
Well,
type of deal.
Right.
I mean, I think it's not. It's hopefully it's a good thing. I hope the hospitals are clean. I mean, I just came from a hospital. I won't say which one. Dear friend of mine is sitting in intensive care unit
Here in New Orleans.
Yeah,
And
well,
it was dirty.
I'd say it was in Metairie, but I'm not going to say which one.
East Jefferson.
No, I'm not going
No,
to
it
say.
wasn't East Jeff. What
No, it
else is in
wasn't. It
Metairie?
was well. Anyway, you,
But what are you going to say?
It
It's
wasn't
dirty?
in Orleans Parish.
the
is the
person
point.
working there was telling me because she was from Canada or somewhere. Her husband, she was saying how disgusting she thought the hospital she was working in. She was saying that in front of me, and my friend was
weird.
lying in intensive care unit, and his
wow.
wife.
What's wrong with him?
We don't know yet.
Oh dear,
He was bleeding a lot.
that
So we
doesn't
don't
sound
know.
good.
No, it doesn't. But I think it'll hopefully.
Everything eventually does stop bleeding.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah. Now you're from Kenner, right, Leah?
Yes, I like to say Kennery though.
Kennery?
What
Yeah,
street?
Kennery, so you're close to the edge there?
Yeah, I'm like on David Drive, West Napoleon. But all of my friends
That's
that
Kennery.
they're all like, you live in Kenner. And I'm like, my address says Metairie, so I'm
Oh.
Kennery,
Well, then you're
I
not
guess.
in Kenner if
So
it says
you're a
Met.
No, but I mean,
Metrite.
it's,
Metairie.
it's far enough, I guess.
What was that word? Metronite?
I just made it up.
That's good because it goes with Kalamartian.
Metriite. I said Metriite.
Metriite.
Metriite. I like
Now,
Metronite.
I grew up, my first, for about 10 years of my life in Metairie, in
Yeah.
that area near Bayou, which was really considered the boondocks. But it
Yeah,
was quite
see?
nice then because there were no homes after my house all the way to
Oh,
the
it was
lake.
the country.
It was the country. The beautiful. We'd go fishing in the mornings before there were bull sharks in Lake Ponch.
Well, you
That's
go,
not
well, you go in the
before
water
there
and
were
like
bull
not
sharks.
go-
There were
uh,
bull
we
sharks.
used
you've
to-
got some sort of a phobia.
Yes,
here,
no, it's not a
obviously.
phobia.
It totally is. Have you ever
been
I
bitten
call it.
or something?
It's an encyclopedia of knowledge about sharks and what they're capable of.
Well, but
You know,
that's
you have to be
some
careful.
sort of mania that
What?
you're that interested in it, though.
Yeah,
I'm not a psychologist. Are any of you guys study psychology?
Well, I have
Leah, did
other.
you stu-
No.
I have other.
Yes, she
No.
has.
have
Yes,
other
she is. She's a
personality-
psychologist.
No.
She tends bar.
Oh,
And I
true.
don't like-
She's totally a
That's true.
psychologist.
I'm more of a
I
therapist.
don't like viper snakes.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest.
Snakes.
Viper, the
Vipers.
poisonous ones that bite you.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
where would you find one of those?
They're all over the place.
Are they?
Well, they're moccasins. Just here.
That's why you go to New Zealand, right? There's no
There's
snakes in New
There's
Zealand.
no
I like
snakes.
that.
There's nothing dangerous in New
snakes.
Zealand at all.
They must have something bad there, though. Let's figure it
They
out.
don't.
You know, they probably have
There's no
earthquakes.
Grant.
They have
Yeah,
earthquakes.
it's beautiful.
Okay.
They have
They
earthquakes.
do have
yeah.
devastating earthquakes.
In
That's
Grant.
true.
I have
Well,
a-
I'm not there anymore, so you're safe in that sense, Joe.
Are you from New Zealand?
I'm from New Zealand originally. Yep.
My son just spent half a year in New Zealand, and I can't remember where, playing rugby with the mid-level men's team.
Yeah, well, it's a
They're
big
serious.
rugby
Cool.
country, that's for
That's
sure.
serious.
That's the
How many
motherland.
kids have you got there?
I have a couple, which is enough.
That's plenty. And where are they? One of them was in New Zealand, and what's the other one?
Well, no, one of them's the director of Cafe Hope over on the West Bank,
Oh,
working with
yeah.
at-risk 18 to 23, 24-year-old youth.
Okay.
Oh, that's
and he
awesome.
intermittently represents the United States playing rugby all over the world.
That's the same one.
Same one.
So it's a guy who was just in New Zealand. Is also
Well, he
a,
was just actually in Israel. He just came back from Israel,
That's not a
where
big rugby
USA
country,
won
sure.
the gold in the McAfee Games. And
in what sport?
rugby, first time since 1997.
The Israel
and beat
rugby
South
team.
Africa and
Really?
and Australia.
This sounds like
and-
fake news to me.
I'd
It's-
say so. This is you sure
South
this is-
Africa
let me
and
say-
This is not
let me
the
say
New
States.
Zealand
It's-
losing
it's
to
an
the
Olympic,
Israelis.
It's an Olympic sanctioned and approved game, but the McAfee Games are basically like the Jewish Olympics. So it's all
Jewish
the
Olympics,
yeah,
okay.
So you
Jewish
have
from
to
all
be
over.
Jewish from South Africa.
So yeah,
participating.
you have to
and-
have the blood. So when my
there
son
you go.
called
You
me, I
have to
said,
be
"Well, I'm glad I
Jewish?
could give you something that you wanted."
There's an all-Jewish rugby team
Yes,
from the United States.
yes, there is.
And from South
Oh,
Africa.
wow.
And from
For
South Africa,
I'm
and
sure there is, but most of
obviously
the Jews
Israel,
left
but
South Africa.
France and
Hang on, now we're on to something. There's an all-Jewish rugby team from the United States of America.
Yes, there is.
And what are they called?
It's the,
The
USA,
Stars of
the
David?
USA McAfee Games. Yeah,
The
McAfee
All
team.
Stars of David.
All Stars of David. Actually, my son and this other gentleman that they had a picture of them together in the Dead Sea, down in standing
Yeah,
in the lowest
okay.
point. And I said, "That's that other guy with the beard that you two look so similar when you're running."
called-
And he said
are you-
they were calling my son they were calling the other guy the crucifixion Jesus, and my son the resurrection Jesus. So I don't know what that means, but I was
Well, the
glad
Dead
that he.
Sea, I mean,
you know.
He was the resurrected
Yeah,
one.
Yeah, really.
better than being the crucifixion one. That one would
Yeah.
hurt and be
Great.
like no fun at all.
are you Jewish then?
My mother's side of the family has Jewish
Your
heritage.
mother's side of the family.
Yes, it's got to come from the mom.
Right, so that makes your son Jewish enough to play in the All Stars
Jewish
of David.
enough, since he's an outstanding athlete, to
So is
be
he
approved by
is
the
he
rabbis.
he's an honorary Jew because he's like.
Well, no, actually,
sports is good for everything.
researched him. There's rabbis in Philadelphia, and they had to find enough meat on that potato to make it legit, and they did.
That's a strange saying. Meat
But my
on the potato, that
grandmother,
can't be
his
right.
maiden name is Friedman.
Friedman, that sounds
Yeah,
Jewish,
I know.
right?
Friedman fried.
But it actually is. Well, it was originally Friedman, but they made it Friedman when
Okay.
they came here.
All right.
from
Well,
Hungary.
that's bizarre. That's something we've learned today, that there's an all-Jewish rugby team from
It's
the
Yeah,
I'm
man.
United
learning
States
all
of
kinds of
America.
things I
Yeah.
had no
Yeah.
idea about. I
Well,
love
I mean,
this.
some of the players are also are on the Olympic team, and I mean, it doesn't limit you just because you're Jewish. Doesn't mean you
but
only
you
have
know-
to play in one.
No, but
you know.
something.
But there's a coming
Judaism
together.
and rugby are not two things you hear in the same sentence that often.
Well, you just did, dude.
But you just don't.
Maybe
Judaism
that's
and,
maybe
you
we
know,
could they
other
could be
stuff.
like a Palestinian Israeli rugby match where they're all in the scrum together.
Oh,
you know?
that's an idea.
And that just decides the whole issue
That
about
would be
the
the
whole
event.
wall
Whoever
and the whole
wins.
nine.
In
yeah.
fact,
Whoever
what
wins
we
gets
could
the
do
whole
is
thing.
Knock
just
it
put a
down.
wall around them for, come back in 5 years, see who answers the door.
Well,
you know?
didn't they do that? Wasn't that the whole thing with the gladiators and the Christians? Isn't that how it started?
Yeah. Well,
Where was
Well,
that?
you
Was
know,
that
all
in
the
Greece?
that was
problems.
not in
By the way?
Greece.
That was
Greeks,
not in
the
Greece.
Greeks were slaves then by the time the Romans were around.
Oh, really? The
Yeah.
Greeks were slaves
Yeah,
as
they
well.
were, of course.
They were slaves to the Romans.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Did you
Yes.
guys know that?
There's
Remember-
a guy
I know
named
what-
Constantine in what 200 something.
300
That 300
AD.
that decided to get everybody unified with something so they wouldn't fight so much.
Christianity.
That's impressive that you even know that. I
She
don't know.
does.
All
I am
kinds of
impressed.
stuff.
Me too. How do you
And,
know that? Did you learn that in public school here in New Orleans?
No, I did not.
Where did you learn that?
I just am interested in everything, and so whenever anything comes across my purview that is interesting, I learn about it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between interested in stuff and being smart enough to remember it.
Well, I don't know about that, man.
There is, because I'm interested in all sorts of stuff and I can't remember anything.
You can
what
probably
about you, Leah?
recall
Are you
things.
interested?
I
What are you
have-
interested
yeah.
in, Leah?
I'm interested in having a good time.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I don't like to
Starting
really
when?
keep
Wait,
up
why
with
don't you
current
tell them your
events
real
'cause they were
passion, Leah?
depressing.
Tell them your real passion. The Saints.
The Saints. I do love the Saints.
She's a
How
big
did you
Saints-
know that?
I'm a Who
Because
Dat
I
baby.
remember when we met.
Are you
I've only
serious?
seen her once. It was around 2011, I would guess.
Yeah,
if we-
y'all
And were
just
you,
opened
were you
just
black
opened
and
up.
gold?
And she was, our waitress.
You
and
remember
I
a
remember the
conversation with a
conversation. I do
waitress
remember
at
the.
Lakeview
Yes, I do.
in 2011.
I don't know. I do.
I left
No,
a
you must
lasting
have
She was
met-
very
impression.
impressive.
Really?
She made a very good impression, and I remember I have visual images. She was telling me they're up in the terrace level, the nosebleed area, and so I'm thinking about that while she's telling me this, and she goes religiously every week to the Saints game.
Are you serious?
did.
Yeah,
You
so I remember that,
Constantine,
yes.
this is incredible. You must have made a real. Think
I
about the
did.
number
I
of people that
actually-
you've met in the
They
last.
even left me a little card with their number asking if I wanted to come get a job just to call them.
Yeah. You see, you must
But
be
we didn't have
wonderful
a phone.
at what
That
you
was
do.
the problem.
I was trying to.
We couldn't afford a phone back then, so we
You
never
couldn't
got the call.
Well, this is really meant to be this
Right? No,
this
that's
reunion.
What, yeah.
That, it also proves how legit she is as a New Orleanian, because we have to love the Saints, even
Yes.
when they do terrible, even when they lose. Even we can talk about them, but people from other places, anybody listening that comes to this town, do not criticize our Saints.
Well,
I
don't
trust.
think-
I trust Drew.
Yeah.
most people.
In
don't-
fact, I made a T-shirt called "I,
trust Drew.
Oh, really?
I
we-
trust
we-
Drew so much.
We do.
Yeah.
We have T-shirts, and then you can wear the "I Trust Drew" T-shirt. If you work at Dat Dog, you're supposed to be wearing Hawaiian shirts or maybe a Jazz Fest shirt. But the only exception is the "I Trust Drew" shirt, which they're allowed to wear on the premises.
And how long is Drew going to be the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints for, really? How long can he keep going?
You have to ask him.
What do you think?
But longer than Tom Benson, I would think.
Leah, you would. Leah,
I
you
think
would.
he has a couple more years left in him.
Okay,
Yes, he
2
does.
more
Yeah,
years.
we
all
just
right.
need to make sure we
Of
have a
course.
solid team. for
Look
him
at Tom
to,
Brady. Tom Brady's older.
count on.
I
Yeah.
wish I
Tom
would
Brady's
have
40
known you
now,
when the
basically.
Saints played the exhibition game in London, because
I was at that
had
game.
a bunch of friends of mine that like to drink quite a bit, that are big Saints fans, that wanted me to go, wanted to pay my way to go to basically babysit them. I'm like, I don't need to be talking to the Bobbies about why they need to not take
Oh,
you
I
guys
would've
away.
gone.
So I was in Nashville when that game was playing, and my brother-in-law from my first ex-husband, Richard, who's from Texas, is a huge
Got a lot of
Dallas
stuff to
fan.
write down here,
He would
huh?
only let me watch that game during the commercials. I was hysterical.
Oh,
And I was getting these intermittent phone calls from England that sounded like this. and click, And so I got all these phone calls from drunk people. And then Herman Ernest, who was the drummer for Dr. John, who was there, took away a phone and said, "Who is this?" And I said, "Herman, this is Leslie." And he goes, "Damn, tell your drunk friends." And it was my friend Keith Williams and Giacomo's, all that whole crew were.
Jack.
I was at that game.
Were you?
And they're
went to-
playing again this year on October 1st
In London?
You can watch it at 8:30 a.m. our time here.
Who are they playing though? Like
Miami Dolphins.
the Miami
The New Orleans
Dolphins.
Saints are playing the Miami Dolphins
In
in
London
London
at
on October
Wembley
the
again?
1st.
October the 1st.
Man,
And this is
really?
all religions, not just Jewish rugby players.
Well, maybe we do better with Jewish rugby.
I don't
players.
know. That would be
Now-
on the
Right?
defense
I'm
anyway.
Back on that
Might.
subject, actually 80 countries are represented at the Maccabee Games.
There's Jews in 80 countries of the world.
There are Jews everywhere.
Okay.
They walk amongst you.
How many countries are there in the world? Do we know that?
I don't know that. I know there are 53 on the continent of Africa. So
106.
Grayson
How many-
Jernigan is going to tell us how many.
I was going to do it from memory.
189.
I say, well, it's,
No, it's 193.
there's 193 countries and there's Jews in 80 of them.
There's actually 206.
Wow.
Well, which one is it?
Well, okay, because it's different. Because like there's like
There are
observer
wars and
states.
things, and the
Like
borders keep
Tibet-
changing.
Tibet is like kind of a country. It's not really a country.
Tibet is certainly a country.
country that's not
only
acknowledged
only
by
the
by
Chinese
China.
say it's not a country, but it is.
what about Palestine? And then you got the Kurds.
Well, is that a country?
You know-
And then you've got. Do you see it, Grant?
I don't know.
Yeah, it gets
Get knowledge.
complicated.
Good question. Is Palestine a country or not?
It's
No.
It's not
I think
regarded.
not,
it's part
that's
of
not
the-
officially, but it feels like it is.
Well, it's what do they call it technically?
Territory.
It's
territory.
something being
Right, it's a
argued
territory.
still.
Okay. So how there are other countries? So there's how many countries in that category? There's like 10 or 20 then.
Well, there's 193 member states in the United Nations.
Right.
There's 2 states that observe the United Nations, and then there's 11 other states that are not a part of the United Nations.
So there's 11 countries that may or may not be countries on
That aren't
top of the
acknowledged
extra
by
2.
somebody.
So there's 13 total possible countries that aren't really, including Tibet and Palestine.
Okay, wait. So I got.
It's interesting
so
that we can't name
sovereign-
any of them.
There's a sovereignty disputed column, which indicates states whose sovereignty is undisputed. 190 states. States whose sovereignty is disputed. 16 states have disputed sovereignty.
Wow.
Out of which
16.
6 are member states. 1 is an observer state.
So there's 16 states with disputed sovereignty.
Right.
You'd
Well,
think
I
that we'd
know-
be able to name a couple of them. I guess Palestine and Tibet apparently is one. I don't know any more, do you? Lea, what are you looking at? Are you cheating?
Armenia is disputed.
Are you texting
Armenia?
someone?
Armenia?
You're allowed to. It's not
I
like
would
school
say
here.
No,
Turkish
it was
occupied
work. It was work.
Cyprus.
That's okay.
Wouldn't it be
You
a
can
lot
totally
of
do that. Don't worry about it.
the Eastern
What do
Bloc
they
that
want?
broke up when
Well, no,
when the Soviet?
Armenia-
To ask if I okayed a 20 top to come in, and I did.
20.
Yeah, people like to have unsanctioned parties. They think it's okay to just show up with like 30 people and like
Wow.
But what if you're-
expect to get exceptional service and food to come out on time.
At the same
I see.
time.
You know,
What
but that's what
happens?
I'm here for. You're supposed to call me, and I'm supposed to set it up for you and try to get you to do a private event, and you know, and then it always goes off flawlessly. But when you just show up with 30 people,
What
and-
kind of morons
And so
do
the
that?
takeaway is call first and let people know what you're doing.
yeah,
Unless
I
you
mean,
don't know, and
But
then
for the most
stay
When
home.
was the last time you went out with 30 people anyway? I don't even know 30
And then
people.
get this, they all want split checks, and don't
Ah.
you dare think about adding gratuity.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Don't you just hate people?
Sometimes, but I'm in the people
We don't
business.
hate
That's what I'm
people.
saying, that
We gotta
working like-
love people.
Yeah.
But working with people like that, it must really must make you hate them, right?
People can be inconsiderate.
Yeah,
and
they can be.
thoughtless.
Well, who goes out with 30 people on a random, what day is it today? Wednesday evening.
I'm not.
What
I-
kind of person?
I don't know.
Tourists?
No, I mean there are conventions and
Locals?
stuff. Yeah, I mean like last week we had some locals come in and you know,
30?
the guy was throwing his wife an unsanctioned birthday party. He was getting all
Okay.
mad at me because I was like, look, I can't reserve 30 spots for you. We only have 40 covers in the dining room, and so he
Wow.
wasn't happy. He showed up anyways.
But your location, there's so much activity on Convention Center Boulevard. I mean, there was that beach body thing a couple of weeks ago.
We got a lot
And,
of
there was
business from that too.
30,
You wouldn't
40,000
think
people.
because we've
Beach
got
body.
burgers and fries, but yeah, we got a lot of business
Well,
from that convention.
that's a beach I'd go to. They don't have
Yeah.
sharks. They have land sharks.
The
I'm
beach
sure.
body.
They probably have land sharks.
But
but-
there's people who look good,
Probably
though. They can
safe.
eat anything. That's the good thing about looking good.
Right.
Because
They
they
didn't
work
look
out
good.
like crazy, so you can eat anything.
I guess that's what you would think, but really, it's 80% of
Now,
what
what's
you
going
eat.
to happen
I think 20% what
this
you do.
weekend? They have the White Linen Night in your neighborhood.
Yes, and that's actually the biggest night of the year for us. We always have a big block party, mobile bars, DJs outside inside.
Are you going to all dress in white?
No, we all dress in black because
Oh.
if not,
Hey,
you
that's
would
a
not.
good idea.
Yeah,
You wouldn't be able to stand out.
That's
You wouldn't
Dirty
be able to
Linen
tell
Night
who's
the
who.
next week.
Are you
Yeah.
going
The
to
week
White
after.
Linen Night, Constantine?
I'm going
go to
to probably miss it this year.
Why? Have something better to do?
Yes.
What is it? What are you doing?
I'm going to dinner
He said, yeah.
uptown.
Okay, because it's pretty early. It's 6 o'clock and it's
You
so...
going where?
I was invited to go to the old Pontchartrain Hotel restaurant,
yes.
Wow.
which I haven't been to since
Me neither.
it was
Apparently it's good.
that we're
I
going to
hear.
find out.
Wasn't that Susan Spicer's first location with her first restaurant on St. Charles Avenue at the Pontchartrain Hotel? Am I getting that wrong? Somewhere.
She had a restaurant.
if you think you
she
had
had a
heard that if you knew
restaurant
about King Constantine.
down the block. I remember that
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
corner
right.
of Jackson and
You're right. It was something else.
and St. Charles.
That was her first restaurant.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, whose restaurant is it now? Do you know anything about that?
No,
Pontchartrain
Leah, you
Hotel.
don't?
no, I don't.
You guys
Sorry.
don't all know each other, all these
No,
dining areas? Or
I live in like my own little Barcadia bubble.
do you get,
They
like,
used to have a lava cake at the Pontchartrain.
yeah, that giant...
Mile
Yeah,
High
the
Pie.
Mile High Pie at the
Yes.
Pontchartrain
Yeah.
when I was a
Oh,
little
maybe
girl.
they still
must,
have it.
they
I'm going to
must
find.
still have that, right?
I'm going to find out.
I wouldn't mind a piece of that right now. That'd be great.
Yeah.
What about Waiter? I wonder if they deliver that. Do you guys use that
Yes.
Waiter app? Do you have that at the Barcadia thing?
We have all three. We've got Grubhub, Waiter, and Uber Eats.
Grubhub. Yeah, Uber Eats is what all my musician friends use.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is
It's
the deal?
great. It is. It has boosted our food sales for sure.
It has.
Do y'all do it at Dat Dog?
We do actually, and I
Oh, come
think
on. People can't go and get a fucking hot dog.
they can come anytime they want.
That's what I
get a
mean,
hot
but they
dog.
can't get out of the door to get a
Well,
hot
a
dog.
lot of them are sitting in the dorm room studying. You see,
Studying.
we want them to
I find
study
that
well.
hard to believe that's true.
No, but also
Hey, it's hot
like-
outside. I'd
Did you
pay
just
for
see where
convenience.
Tulane got voted the number?
Oh yeah, number one
I'm sure
party.
they-
Number one party school
Party
in
school
the
in the
country.
you know.
Tulane?
I can't. I
Yeah,
guess they
they-
I don't know
didn't.
who
So
came up with
LSU
that.
is no more?
Somebody.
No,
They must
it's-
have not paid someone to get taken off that list.
Tulane. That's
You
interesting.
guys want the top
Grayson
10?
is
I'm
Grayson
sorry?
is a student at Tulane, I believe.
Yeah, I can
Still.
give you the top 10 party schools.
Yeah,
Well,
because I know
but
University of Alabama's
Tulane
up
is number
there.
one. Exactly.
Well, when I was at Tulane, which was a long time
Exhibit A.
ago, they had the list of the best drinking schools. They didn't call it party;
Right.
they called it drinking.
Drinking.
And the number one school was LSU, the
Yeah.
drinking school. But they had an asterisk mark at the top, and it said Tulane was not listed in this, not ranked in this list because we didn't want to put professionals with amateurs. And so there was a little,
okay.
Snap.
That's
Tulane,
nice.
though, Tulane also ranked
Grayson.
number 4 in happy students. It was number 1 in
That was
students.
after the Dalai Lama showed up, you know.
Okay.
All those
Good
flags
point.
are still being
Dr.
shredded.
John and Alan Toussaint, all three of them together got their honorary doctorate.
On the same day, the Dalai Lama,
Yeah, man,
Alan
there's a
Toussaint, and
picture of
Dr.
them
John.
laughing. I'm waiting.
I'm amazed. I'd like to know why they're so happy. I mean, I go there all the time, and I still participate in some academia there. But
You teach there?
I do, yes.
Yeah, what do you teach?
I teach
Law?
how to try cases.
Right on.
But
Okay.
from time to time. But when I was going there, of course, it was 18. You could drink at 18
All right.
legally. So any student was drinking way before 18, I promise you that. But when you got to, it was very institutionalized on campus. And we would have Professor Longhair, playing right in the middle of the quad. And the beers were flowing from the Rathskeller,
what a life
and
that
it was
was.
just a completely
Rathskeller.
different,
Yeah.
a completely different world
That's
back
what
then.
college
you know?
was supposed to be like.
Yeah, and they had a
Professor
club
Longhair
called
and
the
alcohol.
Mile High Club. No, I take that back. It was the High Noon Club.
The High Noon
They-
Club.
they
The
used to
High
meet-
Club's a different
Yeah.
club.
No,
That's
no,
it.
sorry.
different.
They would meet. This was advertised in the Tulane newspaper, the Hullabaloo.
The Hullabaloo.
They said the High Noon Club will be meeting at this regular place on Friday afternoon. They would meet on the center of the quad and get high. And
Oh,
there
that's why it was the High
Yes,
Noon
and there was a
Club.
big cloud above them. You could look like a mushroom, like from a nuclear
That was
bomb.
long before we were talking about legalizing pot. Or anything.
This was in the. They were always wanting to legalize
Right.
pot, I'm sure.
But now
but
we're actually on
but
the
this
way
was
to
in the
legalize.
70s, you know,
Right. They were the good old days.
early 70s.
They were the good old days there. Professor Longhair and drinking in the quad in the middle of the day. How cool was that?
Yeah, I mean,
that must have been.
It just seemed
and your
like.
dad was.
I got permanently banned from campus and didn't know.
But we'd go
You
see you.
did.
We'd go
Yes.
seeing you perform
You
at
were
the
a
Tyler's
kid.
Beer Garden.
you
Well,
go
and also
streaking?
I sang no. It was when I was a little girl that it happened, and I didn't even realize I had been banned because both my mother went to Newcomb and my dad went to Tulane, and I used to just run tame around there, and I apparently roller skated through the UC and knocked down the president of the university, and it was
Okay,
permanently
that's cool.
banned, and I am clinically hyperactive and ADD. So
Well, you
wasn't
weren't,
my fault.
you weren't naked, were you?
So no, and
Okay.
so yeah, my
They
dad.
might
took-
have kept you on campus.
So I was doing. I did the Joyride with George Porter. We played on the quad and did performances, and then years later was doing another gig and was putting out flyers on cars, and the security stopped me and asked who I was, and they said my name, and he got on the thing and he came back and he said that I had been banned from this campus. I said, what? I just sang here, and they said, no, you're banned for life from this campus.
You banned for life from Tulane.
That's what the security
Oh,
man
how
said.
great is that?
But I did research for my Jazz
all
Fest
those people
book
are no
with
longer,
at the,
I'm sure, working there.
Bruce Rayburn, was let me get in the the Hogan Jazz Archives to do research for my
What are you
Jazz Fest.
researching?
Oh, so I wrote a book.
You wrote a book?
I wrote a book.
Come on.
Go figure. Yeah, so
about
my
that? What's
dad
it called?
wrote the only two books that had ever been of Jazz Fest,
Right.
Jazz Fest Pictorial Histories and Jazz Fest Memories with Alison Minor, and then I wrote the incomplete year by year that paperback that came out. Me and a woman named Jan Clifford split up the years and did summary
So you
essays.
did that book that's like a yearbook of Jazz Fest.
Yeah. The
You
year
wrote
by year.
that?
That's
That's very cool.
That was
So
my
cool.
first
Wow.
journalistic.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
And now I
creative-
see you have a new record out that I'm holding in my hand here called How Love Works, Part 1.
That's true.
What a great title, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot to say
How
about
How
love.
Love
Oh,
Works,
there's a lot.
Part 1.
I didn't really understand how many husbands she had. She
Oh, let's
mentioned
go back
a
to
Such
that.
second,
I've had
First
a
excess.
plethora.
a plethora.
How many in a plethora?
I think there are going to be several
There
more
might
of
be,
these
yeah.
But I have to
volumes
say-
coming
Well,
out.
Sonny
I have to
you know.
say that I'm friends with. Excuse me. I'm friends with everyone that I've ever
That's
been
great.
romantically involved with, and I think if you
Okay. Is that good, though, really?
yeah, why
still
would
be
it be
friends with
bad?
Why not?
I always think that there's the one person you don't want to be friends with is the person that you broke up with for some probably
Well,
good
I mean,
reason because you know
if
something
some-
about them.
They
People
all
just
know
grow apart.
they knew they screwed
Right.
up and they feel really bad about it.
And so they hurt you and trampled all over your heart and you still want to be friends with
And
them.
now she's writing
No.
music about him.
Well,
Well, there is that.
being a bachelor my entire life, I find it fascinating that people can be married for long periods of time or even go out together for long periods of time. But I just read a new study where people will end up living to be 120, 130, maybe even 140 years old. And
If
that's
they
go-
don't get married,
What's going to happen?
Well, they
Are you
said
still
that
going to
they
break
said
up
that
with somebody
well,
when
they
you're
said that
100?
marriages won't make any sense anymore to a lot of people because they
At
couldn't.
what year is it going to stop making sense, though? I mean, how long are you supposed to be married? What is the average person married for now? How long? Do we know anything?
like a
about-
year.
really?
Nowadays.
That's what you
thing?
think it is? A year is the average?
No, I'm just being facetious.
But it can't. I mean, everyone's living to 80 or 90 now.
For me, I never wanted to be married ever.
Why did
I
you
just-
get married a number of times?
I said actually no. I never said yes.
Well, I think
years.
that's called abuse or some sort of.
Well,
you
no.
had to get
I mean,
married.
I just was kind of like it seemed important to other people, and I didn't really
Right.
care that much
How
about
many times have you been married?
it. Enough times.
Well,
Enough
was there a
times.
number?
But I got married a couple times. In
Wait
this
for the
town.
other albums to come out.
Yeah.
You'll get
Well,
a feel.
the lyrics of How Love Works, the way this title came about was, all of my people that I know call me when they're in distress or have issues, kind of like the bartender when they go to the bar and they go, man, I got it. And I had a couple of weeks where I got so many phone calls about relationship crap that then I got the flu and I wrote these lyrics so that I could just get it all out of the way and just say, well, just listen to.
So lots of people call you with romantic issues.
Well, just with just different stuff, I mean, I actually,
Why do you think they call you?
I care about
You're
people.
empathetic? Are you caring?
Yeah, I'm very, very empathetic.
So what do you think in this point then is the common problem that people have in relationships that makes them break up?
Well, I think that you should, people fall in love with something and then as soon as they get it, they immediately try to change it into something else.
Yeah.
And if you should love
Okay.
who you fell in love with in the first place.
That's
and you
the
should know,
common problem.
like I told my second ex-husband, I said, I knew you were an asshole when I married you. I've not tried to change you. You knew I played music. What's up? Right. And so,
Well, I have a more primitive approach to it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's like, okay, this week I really like eating pizza, and I might eat it for another year or two. I love pizza, but maybe at some point you decide I no longer want to eat a pizza.
You're not really going to try and liken a relationship to
Well, I just think
food.
people's.
That's what you're saying.
I'm saying
I'm
that
gonna
I think people. No, not sick. They
people
just for
want
some
what
reason
they can't have. People
Well,
want what they don't have. It's intriguing to them.
But that's okay.
know?
But that's one thing. But I also think that just people, for whatever reason, move on to something else in their lives, and it's maybe inexplicable. I mean, it's not like you don't like eating pizza for a particular reason. You just like, I think I want to start eating hot dogs.
Well, you know what? I think people.
See what he
Dat
did there?
Dog. I want a Dat
Yeah,
Dog,
you
and I
saw
want to
him.
go drink and get my hangover destroyed.
And we hope they never get tired of that.
No, but people change, and sometimes they change in trajectories that match, and sometimes they don't match. I
Right.
think that we continue taking in information and learning stuff, and it's a natural thing for people to interpret their experience differently, and maybe they'll grow in
But
different
growing
directions.
apart, is that what you're saying? That's not what you're saying is the common reason that people... I mean,
Well-
what we're looking for is a benefit of the wisdom that you have acquired from
how
all
love
these people
works
calling.
goes, you think it's everything, but it's not anything. It'll bite you if you try to grab it, and you can never see it when you have it. Then you cry all night when it's gone, thinking about what went wrong, but you can't fix it once it's broken. When that door gets closed, it won't open. Ain't it funny how love works? Ain't it funny how love works?
Oh, wow.
Ain't it funny how love works?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I mean, you just sing that every night. He's not going anywhere. I promise you.
That's
But then-
definitely a panty dropper over here.
but it goes on though. That's
But I don't think love has anything to do with it.
Okay, now
Okay.
you're on to going.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Interesting
I'm gonna
road
be heavy
here.
again here.
Yeah.
But I think the best marriages, if you look at them, are these arranged marriages, and they're these.
I don't know anybody in
Well,
an
but if you
arranged
look, well, I've
Do
met,
you?
I've met quite a few.
Have you?
Yeah, every time I get in a cab in London, I ask the driver, and they go, "Yeah, my marriage was arranged."
Well,
and
these people
he's
are
happy and all.
Pakistanis or Indians
don't
or
they
something.
have,
They're
no
not-
other
usually,
option,
yeah.
right?
But we
No,
don't-
it's not that.
we don't have that.
No, it's not that at all. It's that they bought into marriages. I mean, to quote Tina Turner, what has love got to do with it? I mean, marriage is
a business arrangement.
I wouldn't even say a business. It is just two people agree. It's like a contract, I guess, to go and to do a certain lifestyle. Like we're going to get together, we're going to have children. I'll work or you work, and whatever. And they just kind
It's an
they
agreement.
buy into this.
But all
That's
the
the system.
shit that pisses you off about somebody, the only reason you stay with them is because you love them, isn't it?
No, well, no.
Without that,
Well, so
No,
when
I
you're-
think,
Why
and
is
I'm
it-
saying that doesn't work because once you're out of love with somebody, well, it's one thing to be out of love, but when you have a contract, so to speak, you're stuck with the contract a lot longer,
It
right?
says our law
So the,
professor.
I could get a lawyer for you that could get you out of that.
No,
I feel
no,
like the
but-
contract
Yeah, of course.
changes
what he's
everything.
saying though, what you're saying does have a lot of value in that I remember my dad telling me one time he said that love was a disease. And I said, I think it's the cure. And he goes, no. The love, when you fall in love, that is a biological thing. That's a hormonal thing that happens. That's an attraction that has to do with mating and procreation. That real love is something that grows through respect and esteem over time, where you know who you're dealing with. Now, I've written some songs about from my experiences with listening to women I know that you've probably talked to as well, that meet some random guy and he's so amazing, so perfect. They go home with some guy, they don't even know this guy's middle name, what anything about, perfect in every way. And then over the course of a couple of weeks, it turns out that he's just like nothing like I imagined, and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, you don't even know who this guy is. That's this
Well,
feeling,
that's the
this
process
attraction.
of getting to know someone. That's normal, isn't it?
No, I mean, not most people.
You're
I think,
physically attracted to someone when you've had a couple of drinks.
and then you get sober and you go,
It's
oh
a little
shit.
different from
So-
from actually.
but my point is that love is but you can't really define it. I mean,
Right.
So that's the
But
beginning. That's the
are
beginning
you
of the
not
problem.
looking for love, Constantine? You're not looking for love, then.
Am I looking for it?
Yeah.
I mean, I have it. I'm surrounded by love.
Okay.
I mean, so I mean, do I
You're
need
not
to look
looking to
for
get a
it?
noose around your neck. You're looking to be able to be in something that's healthy. for you. And if it's not healthy, you don't want to be in it.
It has to make sense. But I just...
So you're not looking for romantic love as far as a relationship is concerned?
It's not something you look for. It's just something that happens.
You are
Right.
right.
I agree.
And so, if you're looking for it, it's probably in all the wrong places,
All right.
So,
That's absolutely.
Those are going to be the ones that are failed.
but I'm just trying
When
to
you're
say
looking.
that
Are you single?
No, I'm not.
Lea?
I'm not single.
Are you in love, or are you just in a marriage of
I am
convenience?
very much in love. Him and I grow together more and more every day, and I feel like that's one of the
that's
things
nice.
that is a key to a healthy relationship, besides a healthy sex life, is
That's probably the
being
most
on the same page.
That's the
and-
most important thing, in your
Yeah.
opinion, is a healthy sex life. After all your wisdom that you've...
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're wanting, but it certainly is a
I'm
healthy
wanting a
thing.
relationship
if you
that
look
stays
at it,
together.
a
I'm
lot
going to
of-
stay far away from this
Yeah, if you-
this subject.
If you
that's
look
for
at
sure.
like a lot
I think
of
a lot of
failed
people that are
marriages-
miserable that are together, if they would just have more sex, they'd be better
Yeah,
off.
but if you think like
Oh, really?
I hate to say this, but like when people have kids, then their marriage doesn't become about them anymore, and it becomes all about the kid, and then the man's neglected, and then the woman's too busy trying to care for the child, and then that's when the marriage breaks apart. I feel like you need to have date nights and stuff like that once you have kids, and to make sure that your love is still staying alive. And if not, if you don't put work towards it, it's gonna fail.
Like an olive
Right.
tree.
Garden. It's like Olive Garden.
Like he's got his 500-year-old olive because somebody gave a crap about it and took
Right.
care of it.
Nurture
work.
it.
And it might
It's
make
work.
fewer olives
I
now,
just
but
think marriage it confuses everybody about relationships.
Well, why is
the word
everybody,
marriage.
why is everybody doing it?
Well,
It must be
it-
something.
Tax breaks,
It's
I
like
think,
heroin.
huh?
Is
Don't
that
you
what
get
it's
tax
for? It's
breaks?
mostly...
I think
Yeah.
it's, I
Yes,
think
you
it's
do pay
societal. I
tax, your
think that
tax rate's
people are
lower.
made. I
Right.
think women in particular are made to feel like they're like if they're not assigned to somebody. I have a lot of issues about that. That I belong to myself. I told my daughter, if you could get married, make him change his name, or her change her name, or whatever you do. That also is another thing. It's I
Well,
think
you've never changed your name at all through all these marriages.
well,
You're
no,
still
I
Leslie Smith.
changed my name once, yeah.
Okay.
But
Had to go through 'em
but
all.
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I'm trying to think. No, but I think it's really it's like with women, at least in this culture, in Western culture, if you're married, if I own a business and I'm in charge of my business, but I happen to be married, someone will say, "Oh, well, what does your husband think?" Nobody ever asks a guy, "What does your wife think?" Like with me, when doing like songwriting things and musical projects, a lot of times I've judged a lot of writing contests and performance things, and you'll hear like amazing male performers and everybody on the panel will be going like, "Wow, man, he's a really great songwriter," and then there'll be like a woman, they'll go, "Yeah, that's really great. I wonder how old she is. I wonder if she's married. Does she have kids? What is it? How is it relevant?" I
Right.
didn't tell people
Well,
I
it's a
had
double
children.
standard is what
I
you're
didn't
saying.
tell people I had children, and until they were grown, because I wouldn't get calls to go tour and to do work. And people knew I had kids, and I was the head of my household and supporting them, and so I had to keep that, to myself.
Did you keep them locked in a closet?
No, I sent them to private school so they wouldn't be Morans, and that's. And it was a lot of hard work, but it paid off.
But look what you bred. You bred an international Jewish rugby player.
You see, it just
So
goes to show you.
That's a success story right there that I've never heard before.
Both of my children are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have two kids.
I
Okay.
have Leslie Jr. and Chance King.
All right.
This is my son.
I
'Cause
love
he was
that,
born on-
Leslie Jr.
Leslie
Yeah.
Jr.
You don't meet
Why
many
not?
women.
Right. I love that.
And I always wanted to be Big Leslie, and it's just not going to happen. So I got to be Big Leslie now too.
That is cool.
That's so cool.
Hey, that's a good note to end on. We've got to get out of here and make way for paying customers, you guys. So thank you very much for joining.
Bill.
I know, but you can always come back.
It's fun.
I would love to.
We can
So
always
I
do
want
it
the
again.
olive oil hookup. Don't we all want the olive oil hookup?
I would love to get the cheap
Okay,
olive oil rather than paying
and we
$25
absolutely
for it.
want the Hangover
The
Destroyer
Hangover
hookup.
Destroyer, you can go to their website, which is hdestroyer.com.
HDestroyer.com.
Yeah, and you can
Don
write
Pipkin in
happy hour.
London. HDestroyer.com.
HDestroyer.com. If you write happy hour on the coupon code, you can get 30% off of that Hangover Destroyer.
Oh, wow.
And you too can seize the dawn, Leslie.
We have a little slice of New Orleans in London, the Icos, Don Pipkin and the Icos, and
Okay.
they like to drink, and so
Well,
they have
take
to
that
buy
with
this.
you when you go over. You're going over soon, right? And then
Yes.
Constantine's going over for
I'm going in 2
the
weeks.
rugby. 2 weeks. So take
Again.
take some free
Going back
samples.
to Greece?
And take some
And
Hangover
Greece,
Destroyer
yes.
back to Barcadia as well with you.
I will.
On our
I
friends at
actually-
Hangover Destroyer.
We can't promote this because it's like a liability. So it's
Why?
like encouraging people to drink
Oh,
more.
it probably says drink responsibly on
Well,
this.
I know,
somewhere,
but
I'm
if
sure.
we sell it at the bar, it's like, oh yeah, go ahead, take 5 more shots of Jameson.
Bring
You
it
got
to the
this little
beach
hangover
when you go to
here.
So what you
Destin
do
in
is
case you
you-
spot a shark.
you
No,
hand
that's
it
what,
out
that's
to
what
the-
I would
That's
use
another
it for.
interesting thing we've learned today is that Constantine's phobic about sharks.
We all need to do
Very
some
interesting.
research
It's been
and
a
find
very
out.
interesting conversation today altogether, actually. So if you want to follow up on any of this on Dat Dog or Barcadia or Leslie Smith's recording career, you can check out all that stuff at our website, itsneworleans.com. We have links to all of your stuff.
It's
Is there
Awesome.
at itsneworleans.com. Is there anything you want to mention before we go?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Lea,
No,
you good?
It's been a pleasure.
Okay,
Thank
we're
you.
out of here. Leslie Blackshear Smith, thank you
I
so
want
much.
I want to
Yes.
say at Studio 101 on Sunday, I'm doing a master's class with Johnny Vidakovich, a bunch of wonderful musicians.
Wow.
That is cool.
That's offered for young folks. You got young kids, so I want to get them involved
And
in
that's
music.
Sunday,
This Sunday. I don't know what
the
day that is.
6th of
The 6th
August,
of August.
2017.
Thank
If you're
you.
listening to this
Yeah.
after the 6th of August, 2017, you missed that out, but you can also check that out. And what's your website called?
LeslieBlackshearSmith.com,
that's
and I'm
easy
also
to-
on Facebook, Leslie Blackshear Smith.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
You guys, thank you very much. Constantine
you.
Georges, Lea Woolf,
This is fun.
and Leslie
Yeah, it was fun. I had
Blackshear
fun.
Smith. That's the end of Happy Hour. Thanks so much for joining us. The producer of our show has been Graham DePonte. Our associate producers are April Stolf and Alison Moon. And Christian Unruh as our music director, and Jean Valois as our music producer.
That's a great
Thomas
name.
Walsh is our technical director, and our live feed directors who put this up on Facebook are Asher Griffith and Grayson Jernigan. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about an hour while drinking cocktails, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com, where you can also listen to many other hundreds of hours of Happy Hour that we've got up there, as well as some other shows we make here, including Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti live from Commander's Palace, where you can hear an episode with Constantine, actually. True to the Game with the very funny Chris True Midnight Menu +1 with Margot Moss and the man who ate New Orleans, Ray Canada. Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker and the podcast about death called Death, the Podcast. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on Facebook and Twitter, and also a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. Bye, Alison. On itsneworleans.com. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com as well. And on our Facebook page, these photos are taken today by Alison Moon. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you've got one, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans, where they have a 3-hour happy hour every day.
That's amazing.
And a brunch
And
on the weekends.
half-price food.
Half-price food as well,
Yeah.
every single day. Happy Hour is a production of I Know Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. Andrew Duhon is in Nashville this week, but he'll be back here next week. So on behalf of Andrew, everyone around here at the table at Wayfare and back at our office at I Know Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. I'll see you back here next week on Happy Hour.
That was amazing.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn, ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn, tell people to stay off the lawn, compare it to your neighbor's lawn, and complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.